joined by, I mean, one of the closest friends of the show, noted Twitter humorist, satirist, published columnist,
meaningful person.
Yeah, there we go. Meaningful person and podcast. Okay, I can't say the word that I want to. So, Zona. Could we say that?
Yeah, whatever.
Appearing on
if someone's gonna ask, I can't say no. You know.
Is that how we get you on the podcast?
Hey! Just remember, we were first.
You were first. Well, I think I'm an honorary member at this point. What is it,
pretty
6
much.
times I'm on already?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fourth co-host of the show. It is, of course, AY Aim Humor. I don't know if are we allowed to say your last name? Like now that you're
meaningful people said it, so.
Oh, they did. Okay, listen to meaningful people. There we go.
What's the crossover? What's the crossover in audience there? So do our listeners really know what your last name is?
I feel like a lot do at this point. No, I don't know.
Yeah, the truth is the Venn diagram of from podcast listeners.
Right. It's not very large. Dude, there were only 2. You make it sound like I was on a bunch of podcasts. There's like literally 2 podcasts.
Yeah, obviously I'm messing, but you have like expanded.
Right.
You're now on. You're putting your face on screen. You were in the Jewish press, right?
Right. I wrote in the Jewish press. No, but no, Meaningful People was a really good experience. It was really cool to be on there, and they have a huge platform, and it was very nice of them to have me on.
And he's hoping to parlay that into future successes because now he has more exposure than he's had before.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. So remember,
no, but it is a big deal because they are number one. I mean, I think they're number one.
No, the numbers they get, it's ridiculous. They have a crazy platform, and it's really cool that I was on it, and I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank Jakob Langer for having me on, and Nachi Gordon for putting up with me.
Oh, these guys, they just josh around.
Thank the Abishter.
That would be great. That would be great if there was like a From Golden Globes. Like the thank yous. I just like to give a crazy Yasher Koyach to my 10th grade Rebbe, who's a big mashpia on me and hashpah on me, and I want to give
first and foremost to the Rabbanu Shalom.
Everything
first and foremost to your wife.
I attribute to my 9th grade Rebbe.
They were my meaningful people.
Okay, there you go. No, but that is really cool. But why? You obviously were famously private up until recently. So like, what precipitated this?
Honestly, I'll be straight up and honest here. I bought a house a couple months ago, and I found myself with like very little money left because I spent it all on the house. No, so I was supposed to have more money left, but then I decided to do some work that I was going to push off to later because like we were here and we're like, okay, let's do it. And now I'm like, you know what? I need money. So I decided that if I, put myself out there a little, and it really did lead to a couple of things that are potential going to pay. So, I already got reached out for a couple. So like, I really want to make some money on the side from this, from my Twitter/comedic ventures. So that's why I'm being a little more free. That's pretty much the reason.
So which Pesach program is it?
It's not a Pesach program. No, I'm starting small, maybe Yesheva Brachas, Bar Mitzvah, Vachnach.
Yeah, I'm sure your material is going to slay at the next Siddush of Vachnach.
Yeah. It's like, there's a baby here.
Yeah. So the Olam they saw WandaVision?
What do they got in the Pekala, huh?
No, it's not a Pekala by the Chassidim. It's a massive event.
Where do they give out the little sugar and garlic? Oh, it's a pidyon a ben.
It's a pidyon a ben.
A christening. Oh, no.
Like I was excitedly like, oh, what do they give this? Oh, garlic again. Darn it.
No, but that's really cool. So you bought a house where, in Passaic or Clifton?
Clifton. Well, actually,
how fast he was when he answered that.
Yeah.
My house is in both. To be honest, like the line of Clifton Passaic is like runs diagonally, like straight across.
By the way, everyone in Passaic now knows where you live.
No, it's very unclear, by the way, the border of Clifton and Passaic. It makes no sense. Like there's no actual border, but I'm paying taxes. Like there's a bunch of people along like whatever that are just paying taxes to both. Right now, I think we're recording this I think this is Clifton where we're recording this. If I were on the couch, we might be in Passaic. So I could say right now that we're in Clifton. I'm in Clifton. So
what did everybody dress up as?
We were superheroes.
Ah.
We really were. My son wanted to be a superhero, so I go by. I don't know. I'm done with trying to be creative. I didn't want to do anything close to even COVID. Done with that. Like I don't care how geschmack your COVID reference was. It was like no, nothing. I don't want any COVID related anything. Like, but we're syringes. Like no.
Yeah.
It's. I guess for me, I dressed up with my entire family, and the way it works with us is that there's too many people for everyone to ever decide on anything. So we every year my family tries to do a theme, but it just never ends up working. Except last year it did, and then this year we had everyone except for one. We all dressed up as like Willy Wonka themed, except for one brother.
No.
Well, there were two Oompa Loompas, but other people were different. There was Willy Wonka. My father was Grandpa Joe. He looked exactly like him. But one brother decided that he is going to be a vampire no matter what. So basically, we were a family of Willy Wonka and one vampire. So.
Yeah. Like anybody who sees like that whole that image, like with the family like all dressed up according to theme, and like that one kid, they all know like, all right, that's the one that the parents have many meetings with the Rebbeim about.
Lomo looks like he's on video from the 1980s, like chiming in here.
Yeah, this is serious vintage right here, and I don't know how to change it.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Is it a setting that's supposed to specifically look like that?
I tried.
Probably your light. It's probably your light.
Think about the Purim themes. Was there any theme this like past few years that you're like, maybe like a couple every Purim, but most is just same.
Yeah, I feel like there's one or two that I see every Purim. I'm like, oh, this is. Or like, did you see the video with the kids who are Transformers?
That was cool.
That was actually.
I don't think that was Purim though.
I don't care what it was.
I don't think they were Jewish kids. I don't think it was Purim.
I think that was Halloween.
You know what I realized? Thanks to like social media and WhatsApp and whatnot, Purim costumes have almost become like Super Bowl commercials, where the ones that go viral are released beforehand because Purim, like in Israel. So like you see the one with like the baby the kid pushing like 6 strollers. You see it before Purim.
Right, you saw it like
yeah. So like you already have by the time like Mincha Tanases, you already have like they already have the best costume. So like everything else just is terrible.
Right. So that's why I said that. So I'm like jumping in like in mid thought. I tweeted like right at the start, right before Purim. I'm like, oh, so every Yutz who dresses up like Bernie, like the Bernie meme is gonna go viral. Right. I had only seen one at that point. And then like another 2 came out after my tweet. Like another 2 I saw went viral. And then I was in shul, and a guy's like, you're making fun of my brother-in-law? I'm like, I don't know your brother-in-law. Like, I don't. And he showed me one of the pictures that were going viral was like this guy's brother-in-law. I said, look, I make calls as they come. If someone gets hurt in the process, there's nothing I could do about it. And you know what? It was a true call. And yeah, your brother is one of those guys. Your brother.
We didn't see the tweet because we're boycotting Twitter.
Right, I know. But
except for I'll hand up. I go on to check Moshe Kolat's tweets every so often.
You have to.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me because we should do this at the end, but I'm gonna forget. So Moshe Kolat left a 5-star review for us on iTunes that I have to read.
Okay. Yeah. Remind. We'll do it at the end.
We'll do it at the end, but someone has to remind me.
Okay.
Okay.
I can already say the spoiler. No one's gonna remind you.
Let me just.
Okay, so like, we dressed up as, kind of like AY with you. Whatever your kids want to dress up as, so you have to follow along. So like, my daughter wanted to dress up as Elsa from Frozen. So we all did a Frozen theme, and I dressed up as a Bacher in the freezer.
It looked scarily real, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
It was good.
Yeah.
And I guess everybody else has already said there. So about 3-4 weeks ago, I had a conversation with my wife where we were discussing Purim costumes, and I said, all right, it's on a Friday, so let's do as little work as possible. So we dressed up as a pack of cards, or in this case, a royal flush. Basically,
that's what you do on a Shabbos morning.
Yeah. But yeah, all we did was get white T-shirts and iron on cards onto them. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's cheap, also economical. But I always love also costumes that are just objects. Like, like you can dress up like something, but then there's like a guy. Oh, I'm a box. Like, okay, like you're an object.
No, but anyway, there's also there's always like layers and layers of chachma that aren't reaching the surface and no one's missing it. So like, I'm a box because I feel boxed in with all the
right. And we gave out box drinks in the Shalach Manas.
And because of the boxes they gave out in the summer, the food boxes,
right. Exactly.
And so I put on gloves. I put on gloves so everybody would know they were boxing gloves, and that way.
Yeah. Some of these are too deep, but we gave out super snacks and Powerades.
Very good.
Creative. That's it.
We give out Cholent and Kugel.
What?
We give out Cholent and Kugel.
Oh, a friend of mine did that. It was really good, actually. It's a good call. It was like cold Cholent and Kugel, or like you had it hot for people?
Oh, it was cold. It was fresh, but it was cold.
Yeah. Okay, so we actually need to move things on a little bit just because we need to condense this.
Oh, wait, 1 second. Yeah. Before we move on, just one thing. I think I'm out on the small Sifrei Torah. I'm done with them. I mean, so I understand at the beginning, like the Sifrei Torah were humongous and heavy, and they started making them a little smaller and lighter so that, I don't know, more people could do Hagbah. But now they're just making them like really, really small, and it's impossible to read from. You have to go in and see the letters, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's really not that big of a deal, but one day I just woke up and decided that I'm out on them. So now I'm just
as a small guy, it's more insulting to get called up for Hagbah on a small Torah than to get called up for Glila. I promise. It's like, you could do this one. It's light. Like, thanks.
Because it'll never be.
You're like,
got like 12 columns.
It's even better on a Shabbos like this week. We're recording this. I don't know what day it is, but like this week is Parshas Para. So like if there's two Sifrei Torah and like there's the big one and the small one, and like they went to someone like near you for the bigger one, for the main one, then like, oh, from out there, yeah, you can do this. You can do this.
I just try to like avoid eye contact. I'm like looking down. I follow along like more with like the laning like at that point than I do ever. I'm like looking at Rashi, like.
Pulling Svarim off the shelves. It's really just like Tales of Tzaddikim.
Underrated, by the way. You know when like you're sitting in like a Svarim shrunk like seat, and like a guy comes over and is like leaning over your head. It's like you needed the Mikrais Gedailis right now, like right now. Like, it's such a flex to walk and get a safer in the middle of leaning. Like you could have gotten that before. Go sit down.
No, I had to look up a Shev Shmaitza in between.
You see his crease face, like right. You see up his nostril and like his crease face. Like, what are you doing?
The best is when you like match the intensity along with like the type of safer they're trying to get. Like if they're looking at like the Kahati Mishnayos with like the intensity of trying to find like some obscure like Rishon and they're just trying to pull out like brachas.
Or you just tell them like it's over here. Like what? I don't know this. That's what you're looking for.
You're not actually looking for a specific thing. You just want to
just take this and go.
You just want to be learning. Like you want to just be the guy who's learning in middle of davening. Okay, that's it.
I had a short kufa in like 10th grade where I pulled out like a Gemara by leaning on Shabbos. Like I was like, I'm becoming this kind of guy now. It didn't last too long. It coincided with the tzitzis out. But yeah.
The brief phase. Yeah, in 11th grade we like they divide like the base measures like by grade, right? So the 11th grade sat closer to like the Mizrach Vant, where the Rebbeim were. So a friend of mine and I, during Chazaras Hashatz, we used to try to see which Rebbeim would notice. We would take the biggest sefer, whether it was a Gemara or anything, off, turn it upside down, and harav over it, like with an upside down sefer, just seeing how many Rebbeim we can get to crack up during Chazaras Hashatz.
That's a move.
Yeah. Anyway, so just moving things along. Okay, so we have the Mizrach Vant for today's episode, or tonight's, depending on when you listen to this, which is the Mizrach Vant of confusing things in Judaism. So I don't want to say like what exactly caused this, because it might be on the Mizrach Vant, but suffice it to say that like at Mincha before Purim, the ritual that we do can be very confusing. So I texted Menachem and Joe, and I was like, okay, I just to cover all bases, I picked up the tin with the money and the first, and then the coins, and just to cover, because I don't know what I'm doing by this thing. Like
I can't stand the pressure of any mincha that has tins on the bima. It happens like 4 times a year, and like you see people out there like whipping out like 20s and 5s, and you're like, it's one of those minchas. Yeah. You're like begging for cash, and you have like 2 singles, and you're like, oh.
We're getting close to spoiling things.
Okay, sorry. Go back. Sorry.
Okay, fine. So hold on.
9 by 13 minchas. Okay, yeah, go back.
Yeah. No, usually it's the circular ones.
Oh, your shul is different. Okay.
Yeah.
The little paper with someone's like Sharpie marker on it. Like, does that say?
Right. No, is that like an olive or is that a puff?
And there's like Mikvah USA, like.
Okay, so Mizrach Vant of confusing things in Judaism. So AY as our guest, of course. You'll go for. I'm gonna ask though, Menachem or Joe. I don't have the ability to keep track of who picks what, so I need you to do it.
Okay. You know what? Can we just like write it in the chat? I don't know how this works.
I suppose so. I could even write. I guess I could write it here. Hold on. I guess we could try it. I actually, yeah. Okay, whatever. This is great. Unbelievable, riveting radio right now.
Yeah, this is good. Oh, look at that! It popped up on the screen.
Yeah, look at those graphics. Look at those graphics. Subscribe below.
Yeah.
Click over there.
Guys, subscribe below. Oh, is it there? Is it there?
I am still never gonna get used to this being backwards. Like it's not mirrored, and
why is my right hand going up?
I know it's weird.
Yeah.
So you want me to start off?
Yes.
Wait, so I think the order is AY, Yosef, me, Shlomo. Okay.
So I panicked and called a friend of mine because like I was busy today and I didn't have anything. I was like driving home, like I got nothing. So just give him a shout out. Benji, just saying if you know him, you know him. If not, I said I'll give him a shout out. Actually, he would be good. Like you had like a rabbi on this show. He's like my WhatsApp. Like I asked him my shilos. We both don't know anything, but at least I don't know. He actually knows his stuff. But he so okay. To start, I'd have to go with the whole. There's a lot. I think they're just basics.
Oh wait, AY,
Judaism.
That's like Menachem's Shabbos one.
No, I don't want to do that. I will go with the waiting from Fleischig to Milchig. I'm gonna have to go with that first. It's just why can some people just do an hour? It's like, oh yeah, I do. Excuse me.
Yeah, my favorite part of that entire thing is I wait into the 6th hour.
Right. Into the 6th hour. I do 5 hours and 46 minutes. Why? Where did that come from?
Yeah, the whole like Dutch thing. Oh yeah, we're Dutch. Our digestive system is on hyperdrive. So like we're for like an hour.
Yeah, and then there are the 3-hour people. Like, and I don't know. So what do we like? Why can't we have a uniform thing? But there's a few ideas here for confusing things that okay, I'll go with my next pick.
Actually, a friend of mine proposed like that. He's a Yeki, and shout out Yona. And he proposed to his wife by saying, "Do you want to wait 3 hours with me?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For what?
So I'm gonna go with the people that eat chalav stam when they're not at home. Like they only eat chalav Yisrael in the house, but then when they're on the road, they eat chalav. Yeah, those people confuse me.
Right, I had a friend that only smoked on vacation, also. And like these guys, like the chalav stam on vacation people, like they chain chalav stam, like
yeah.
Like they're coming out of the gas station like Entenmann's and like M&M. They're just like they go crazy.
Yeah. It's true, like, and not even checking the kashrus, because at this point, does Entenmann still have an extra? Who cares? Just load up. We're on vacation.
They're like drinking Tuscan Farms milk straight out of the bottle.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like you guys are going a completely different direction with this than I was, which I think is.
I think I'm going in your direction, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like me and Shlomo are going to be like. I was going just more in the things of like when you're doing it, you're confused as to what you're doing. Like,
okay,
I have some of those
change around. So I
mean, not exactly, but like more some like with the machzis shekel thing that Shlomo was alluding to. Sorry,
that's Menachem's pick, by the way. That's his pick.
Yes, that is going to be my pick.
By the way, AY whips out his phone and texts Avi. He's like, "Quick, I need
more."
Yeah, but no, it's like you're sitting there and you're just confused as to what to do. Like you're supposed to be doing something.
There's like guys going like this, and like guys like. I just wanted to like take the 3 little packs of tape wrapped coins and just pocket it and like walked away. Like as everyone's like.
When I did it this year, someone was like, "Oh, the guy took them home." I was like, "You can do that?"
And like also, it's like, okay, so how many people are in my family? Do I have to do it like I have 4 people in my family, so I have to do like each time 4 in each hand.
Do I have to like drop it again, pick it up again, another cheese, it's a $5 bill.
Is it $1.50 per person? Is it just
with inflation? Because of inflation, is it now $1.75? Because I remember 2 years ago.
And then you'd like see the tapes like taped together, and you see like it's just a couple of quarters.
And there's one that like the bottom one fell out. And, like you have to retape it. Can you just pick them up? And, like there's some that don't even have tape. It's like, what do I do now?
I was at a minion once where they didn't have tape. And
this year,
you don't have to tape it together. Like it works without the tape.
You think in the Beis HaMikdash when they did it, they used Scotch tape? Like.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a really good one. Yeah, that was
now I'm interested in hearing what your next 2 picks are, so I see where you're going with this to see if we're on the same page.
I was going more like somewhat in between what AY and Joe, and I have options from both strategies. For my first one is actually quite or soon will be pretty topical, which is selling chametz.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yes, I have that one. Let me just cross that off my bingo.
Yeah. I think we all have that.
Yeah. From end to end, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. The first, I'll get okay. Just quick anecdote. Like the first time I think I sold chametz when I was married, I guess. It must be. I went to the Rav's house to I guess to sign whatever it's supposed to be, and like. Okay, so he explains like what happens. I sign, and like there's this heavy awkward pause, and I'm not sure what the pause is about. Like, what am I supposed to do now? So I'd left. Little did I know, you're supposed to slip the Rav a 20 at least or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that, so I just walked out, but I still remember that you can cut the awkwardness with a knife. Like it was just heavy awkwardness for about a minute and a half straight until no words were spoken. And it was just dead silence, and then I walked out. And Motzei Shabbos, I like called the rabbi. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Like I totally didn't know." He's like, "Don't worry, I did the same thing when I was your age. Here's my quick pay." Okay, so that's number one. And
right. Well, you have to also explain that like there are some Rabbanim who are like, I need an itemized list of everything in your cabinets, fridge, freezer. I need what you tile your floors with. I need whatever. And there's a rabbi, and then there's a rabbi who's like, I just write kitchen. Like,
I sold my apartment once, and my Rav asked me for the key because I wasn't around. He's like, well, what if someone wants to get in the apartment to get the food? And I'm like, it makes sense. I mean, the truth is, like, with the more, it does make sense that it should be really, really specific because it's supposed to be a real sale. I mean, it's not supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, but it kind of is. It kind of is.
It kind of is, but it's not
it's such a hack. Like,
yeah. Okay, so that's number one, and number two, I'm gonna stick within like the halachas thing. Lashon hara l'tayelis. I don't know what the like where the parameters are. it's just very confusing.
I mean, it's always just good to have in your back pocket as an excuse. It's like, no, it's a tayelis, it's a known thing, so it's fine.
It's the niche Shabbos Gerett of talking bad about people. This is totally l'tayelis, but
it's like lying. It's like lying for shalom. It's all in the same.
Exactly.
Every time I lie, it's for shalom. Like, you don't know what can happen.
That was like the biggest like mind-blowing experience, like when hey you told me that what was it that Sarah said that because she's old. Yeah, well, I found out that's not what she said. Yeah, well, you're allowed to lie for shalom.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, Menachem, go. Okay,
so my next pick, so the thing is, with my picks, I feel like nobody's gonna pick them because they're, except for the selling. Actually, Shlomo might, but it's not really a matter of taking stuff before someone else takes them. It's just a matter of which one I think are good. But I'm gonna go with whenever you're saying either like slichos or kinnis, just trying to just keep up and figure out where everyone's up to and like which things you're supposed to be saying. And there's always different days that have different things that are messed up, and you're not saying the same thing the shul's saying, and you're just it never works out. I don't think I've ever had a time with slichas with anything, with like the ones after Shemona Esrei or the early ones. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time where I was on track with the guy davening for the Amud and just saying everything. It never happens. I always get confused and mixed up.
I have a great story with that where I went an entire slicha cycle. I think it was the before Rosh Hashanah ones, where I had my slichas was, I guess, was the Poland ones, and the shul I was davening was doing the Lita ones, or whatever the split is. I don't know what they are, and I could not figure out what was going on.
And it's just, there's nothing you could do about it because you get to a point where it's like, I don't know. I think I'm saying what I'm supposed to be saying, but like I'm hearing what they're saying at the end of the paragraphs, and it's not what I have.
Right, it's totally not where you are. And then when you're skimming through to find like you heard a word that the Chazan said and you're trying to recognize it. He says Shomer, there's a Shomer somewhere, and then you find yourself by the next day, like can't be the next day, it can't be.
Especially when you have like those years where they switch. You know when they switch
fourth and the fifth day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I
supposed to what happened this year that we switched to? Why? What?
There's never any explanation. Like even in the art scroll ones, forget about if you go to a place like I think most of us do, where all they have is like the moth-eaten dog-eared slichos with like. Where it says like they have like one page per day, and then it's like Hashem v'chulu. It's like, what? No, I'm too lazy to print it. I'm too lazy to say it.
And it's go back. It's like on this page, go at this point, go back to that page and say what was there, and then go on. And it's like I just can't. This is not something that I'm capable of doing. Like there's things in life that I'm capable of doing. This is not one of them.
Right. No,
and I just have accepted the fact at this point that I will never be able to say slichas normally with everyone else. I'm just gonna have to say what I have there and just hope that's okay.
Menachem, what the move, exactly. Just smile and wave. Menachem, the move to do, by the way, is just park yourself by Shema Karleinu. I don't care if slichas just started. Just park yourself there and wait.
I love how everyone's like refocused by Shema Karleinu. Like everyone's out or whatever. It looks like Shema Karleinu is like, nah, Karleinu. What are you talking about? You didn't say a word till now.
What Kulenu are you referring to?
Every time Hashem comes back up, it was like, Hashem.
Oh, and by the way, there's no chance that anyone actually says the words to the paragraphs in Slichas. Like,
There's
you're just
one
like running through it. It's not
His name
physically
is-
possible to say the words.
Yeah.
It's the guy standing right behind the chazan.
One loud guy.
I'm gonna go with skipping parts of davening. Like, you get to davening late and you're like, okay, I know I need to skip. Do you remember when you were told what parts of davening you can skip and what parts you're not allowed to? And then taking it a step further, like, what happens when you guess wrong? You're like, okay, I have time to say this, and that, and then you don't have time to say this, and that. You're like, so, what happens there? And then hold on, just one thing that makes it even worse is when you're with a guy and he got there a little bit before you, so he felt like he had time to say the whole Psukkah de Zimra, and you're like davening Shemana Esrei with the tzibur while he's still in the middle of Nishmas. Right. You know, that's
right.
So I'll tell you, I used to like try to do this and figure stuff out, and then it kind of evolved, and basically it got to the point where I realized that I was just never saying anything except for Baruch Shamar Ashrei and Yishtabach. And by that point I was like, okay, this has gone too far. Every time I'm just saying the whole thing, no matter what, it's probably worth it to just do that rather than, because I know if I start messing around, it's a slippery slope before I'm back to just doing the Baruch Shamar Ashrei Yishtabach, and I'm just like, whatever, it is what it is. I'm just saying the whole thing every time. I'm not making any calculations. It is what it is, and that's it.
But I was excited to start davening again with tzibur, because then at home I didn't have the excuse to catch up to the tzibur, so I had to say everything. When I was davening with the meeting, I'm like, yeah, Baruch Shamar Ashrei Yishtabach, bam.
And also, by the way, I love the fact that, I mean, I'm assuming that everyone does this. I just always did it, that Hodu is just always the first thing that I automatically take out no matter what. So it's definitely not on the top of the list. I think it's actually pretty close to the bottom of the list, but it's just always this like, oh yeah, I don't have time to say Hodu today. That's it.
By the way, while you're walking out of shul, you're like, oh, I could go back and say I was Yashir now, but...
Well, have you said every word of like long tachon either? Like,
oh no, I time it. So that's Mondays and Thursdays are the only days that my Shemana Esrei goes long enough that.
By the way, AY, during like the lockdowns, I specifically skipped like tachon as an example, even though I had no excuse, because you're supposed to, we had to create. We heard from everybody, had to create our own like mikdash ma'at, our own shul in our apartment. Well, you know what? In my shul, we don't say tachon under any circumstances, so I didn't say it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel like I did. I don't remember, but I feel like I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Tachnon,
I can't imagine I would have said tachnon
in a house with like clothing around, tables.
There are dirty diapers in the garbage. Like,
yeah,
rooms over. So.
Kids.
Oh, by the way, also I found out recently. Apparently, girls just never say tachnon, or I think. Depending on who, I think Hodu also. Like, girls just don't say tachnon or Hodu. Like, it's their, like, my sister's like, yeah, no, girls just don't do that.
My wife had
like,
no idea what
I don't know about that.
was. Like, before we got, when we got married, I even remember mentioning like, oh yeah, they didn't say tachnon today. There was like a chassan in shul or something like that. And she's like, I don't know what any of that just meant. Like it's whatever, missing out. All right, AY, you have the next.
They're really not missing out.
So I came up with this one like just now because like I realized we're like switching gears a little bit.
I mean, be patient, but yeah.
It's where these Mizrach Vants are always
right. So it just switched in my head, and like when he said about the slichas, something that confuses me all the time is like by the Haftarah, why could the Spartans stop here? And why do we have to go until another like 4 paragraphs more? Like Spartan finish here, Lubavitch people finish here. It's like boarding classes on the airplane. Like Group A finishes Torah here. Veterans and we can finish here. Oh, Ashkenazim, you're at the last. Like,
and for some reason, Ashkenazim are always the longest. Like there's
always the longest.
And like there's Sfarad stops here, Lubavitch stops here. Ashkenaz.
There's one.
We're always the longest.
There is one, I believe. I don't remember which one, but one of them is.
It's probably
it's all like Machar HaChodesh that comes out. Like it's like the once in a blue moon.
The Ashkenazim don't repeat the last pasuk.
Right, that's what it's like one pasuk. It's like, oh, Ashkenazim don't repeat this. Okay.
Can you give a Sephardi the Aliyah and then just do the Sephardi Haftarah?
I'm pretty sure it goes by the shul.
What would happen if we just stopped by the Sephardi one? What's gonna happen?
If you want to know what's gonna happen, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. There's gonna be that one old man come running from the back of the shul and screaming at you. That's what's gonna happen. But
we're holding his chumash like running.
No, you see pointing to his fingers like.
Does your last name end in a vowel? I don't think so. We're continuing this.
I was just reminded now. There was like Thanksgiving time. I was in Tampa and we were davening in Lubavitch shul, and it was a significantly shorter haftarah for Lubavitch, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
I feel like we always end up with the longest davenings, the longest everything. Like every other religion in Judaism.
I always
like, by us, we're like here 20 minutes and we're gone. I'm like, oh, by us, it's a 6-hour here. Like
the one thing we have is the El Slichas that Sephardim do.
Oh, they don't do it.
That's true.
Exactly, they just don't do it.
Yeah, that reminds me. There was, I think when I was in Israel, one of my friends, he was telling me, he's like, I don't know, is it worth it? Because by Marav in Israel, you don't have to say the Baruch Hashem La'olam, right, but you do have to say the Kaveh El Hashem in Shacharis. So like, is it worth the trade-off? So I was like, yeah, I just don't say it. So like,
yeah. Well, another thing that when you were davening at home b'Yechidos, did you say Baruch Hashem La'olam?
What's a Shabbos?
Are you kidding me?
No, every day.
No,
every day.
No, even sometimes if I'm in shul, I just don't say it if I'm not in the mood. But I'm saying
Menachem's one of those guys who stands up early.
No, but I'm saying
when you stand up like subconsciously because one guy stood up and you like completely spaced out and you find yourself standing like by Hashkivenu like
right.
Meanwhile, that guy just had to go to the bathroom like
yeah.
And you feel like an idiot because the guy knows that you stood up because he stood up.
Then you have to awkwardly like sit back down, like you like reach for a tissue.
Yeah, it's like that's what I was.
Oh, sorry, I thought the Rav was walking in.
And he's like, no, I just always. This is what I do. I always stand up. I'm like for the next.
I always stand up by yumming a smile.
Yeah.
That's like the most annoying because I stand for most of davening, and like during the Chadadi when you have the people who are not, sick brag. You have the people who are not paying attention. By Lechadadi, like they all stand up before Yom and Ismail and then like turn around. So you have like 90 people turning around, and I'm standing my ground because like I've been paying attention the whole time, and I'm not moving. Like, and I always feel like that self-conscious is like, no, you're wrong, I'm right.
Well, since we're all back in the shul people, how about when you turn back around like a drop too early and everyone's still like,
that's why no matter what, I always wait till the whole thing is over. Like I'm not turning around like in middle because some shuls have like you just say it as it goes and everyone says it, or sometimes everyone says it afterwards. So I'm not like I'm just waiting till afterwards. I'll say it, I'll turn around. I'm not turning around and facing the whole shul. Like that's not happening.
Yeah, or you never know when one guy is going to try to continue the song. No. I love when he fizzles out because nobody joined. I'm like that guy who tried to.
Yeah, you're just doing that.
That reminds me that I think the people who just anyone who does an extended Karl Bach Kabbalah Shabbos like without warning. Like I think they're going like all the way down, like the deepest parts again. Like I'm telling you, the thoughts that I have when even if it's someone who's just like
I don't know if the Chazin's going there or you're going there.
He's pulling it. They're going together.
No, I'll explain it to you. Even if it's like a small thing that's just like you just do something with a tune that's not normally done, and I'm just like like all my evil thoughts that I've had in my life are like I'm like staring at the back of your head and I'm wishing every single evil thing upon your head. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people doing that. So
I just have this image in my head of Menachem trying to explain why he murdered someone to the Beis Din Shalmala. Well, you see, he was doing an extended Karabach Kabbalah Shabbos, and I was there in the back.
Yeah, and everybody goes like,
specific Karl
I
Bachman
plead insanity here. Does that work?
Wherever you are, I'm sure you could find people who want to do Karl Bach Kabbalah Shabbos, and you can do it, and like you guys can all go and have your little fun.
They have minyanim for it.
Yeah,
they
have places for this. This is not the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I one time by mistake get stuck by a Kalach minyan. Like it's one thing if like the Chazan himself is doing it, and you see other people rolling their eyes, so you're like, okay, everyone here is annoyed. But like if it's a minyan of everyone like all in on it, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I thought of this also while we were talking. See, I had changed everything now. But basically, when and where to stand and sit by davening, and then you have some people who are standing chazar sashatz. You have people who are sitting. You have people who are standing by laning, standing by Baruch, sitting here, standing there, sitting Baruch Shamar. Oh yeah, you can't. You have to stand by Baruch Shamar. Hodu, no, stand. Like, well, why? Well, can I just sit? Can I just sit, please?
And you could take it a step. You could take it a step further with like Az Yashir or the Aseres Adibros by laning.
Az Yashir.
And then you could take it even another step further, which is like the people who put their talis over their head is like, oh, do I need to put my talis over my head for this? Wait, but I don't do it for that. Okay.
Yeah. That's like I was in a shul. I was in Lakewood for Shabbos this past week, and like everyone was standing by laning, like everyone, and I was like sitting, and I'm like, I feel like a guy. I'm doing a bad thing now.
It's a point of honor for some people that they're like to be standing. So
right.
There's certain, actually this is going to get into something else that I'm planning on doing, so I'm not going to say this yet. I'll say it later. But okay, forget about that. Just move on.
I'm going to go. I'll go then. I'll bail Menachem out here. I'm going to go with Tashlich.
Okay.
Tashlich is just confusing. Number one, what are we doing? Number two, where do you stop? What are you supposed to say? And I don't know if anybody else has gotten stuck in like the Tfilas HaShlo or whatever it is that goes afterwards.
Yeah.
But true. I was about 3/4 of the way through that where it's like, it didn't take me this long to say Tashlich last year.
Yeah. And also, like, what's with the way it's written with the letters? Yeah. I don't know.
The way I work with art scrolls, whatever art scroll puts in bold, then I'm for sure saying. Yeah. Once it's like smaller and thinner, I'm like, okay, it's probably not as important.
It's the fine print. It's just the fine print.
Right.
The fine print.
Right, and then when you get to some congregations say, forget about it. No way.
No, but everybody says the tefillah for parnasa. Like that's
right.
where that's like
right. When it's like a little dry, when it's like a tefillah for like health and parnasa and stuff, then you're all in. It's like you are saying.
Also, like, do you give the bread for some reason? Like I've seen people do that. They throw bread in.
Right, no bread. I grew up doing that, but then like when I start and like they don't do bread anymore. I think it's out.
Right, but also like the fish don't eat the bread.
Out, bread is out.
The fish don't eat the bread. The ducks eat the bread. So what are the ducks taking the other areas? Like what?
Right. Yeah, some dead ducks.
Does anybody else feel like self-conscious by Avinu Malkeinu that they're putting too much kavanah or emphasis on the tefillah, on like the one for parnasa? So like they overcompensate by like just not even saying it, like not paying attention. Like no, the other stuff's way more important. Like the spiritual stuff's way more important.
Right, but or you try to do that art school he wrote saying that's by the parnasa one, and you have to say it really fast.
Yeah,
the shul ain't waiting for you. Like,
by the way, and by the way, the thing in brackets where they say like scan it, don't say it, dude. I'm scanning the whole thing. I can't keep up.
Like your eyes open wider, and you're like.
I'm just thinking out loud now. At some point, we should do a Mizrach Vant of the parts of davening that no one says, like the least said parts of davening.
Can I go first, Carbonis?
How about Brich Shmei? But not only Brich Shmei, when you have
Brich Shmei was one that I was thinking of.
No,
Shmei, but then when you have Psicha and it's there in front of you and the whole shit, you're like, you're not even close.
But even worse is the Al Hakol after they bring the Sefer Torah to the Bima.
Yeah.
The long one on Shabbos. No one says that.
No one says that.
Right. Well, that's the Alakol is on Shabbos. No, but anyway, like when you have Sikha and you like you're looking at it, you're like, none of these words look familiar.
Is this Hebrew?
Anabakayat by Kabbalah Shabbos.
That was one of the ones I was thinking of also.
Everybody just says the last line.
No, it's also some fields are just scanning. Like you look at it with your eyes and you're like acknowledging that this is something I should probably be saying.
The scanning with the eyes always, because like I don't like which points. It's just like I'm just scanning the whole thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I'm registering it in my brain. Hashem, we're on the same page here.
Right. Yeah. Actually, the only part of Brit Shmid that people know is the one that was in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Okay. Menachem, go.
Okay. So the next pick I'm gonna have is Chazaras Hashatz on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So this goes into the standing sitting thing. It's like, are we supposed to be standing? This is just one part of it that I was actually even reminded from. This wasn't even the main thing, but it's like, are we supposed to stand the whole thing? Are we supposed to stand when the Aron's open? Do we have to stand the whole time when the Aron's open? Right. Do we have to stand part of it? And just standing for the whole time, especially like on Yom Kippur Musaf, it's like by the end you just feel like your legs are gonna fall off. But that's just the standing part. Forgetting about that, there's just also just which parts are we supposed to be saying, which parts are we skipping? Like, am I supposed to be saying this with the chazan? Am I supposed to not be saying this? Like, which is this a response that like we go first, or is this the one where the chazan goes first? And it's just like there's just way too much going on, and it's just very confusing.
By the way, responsively is one of those art score words that was invented by art score.
Right, responsively.
Yeah,
but even then we don't know what to do, because like the chazan starts saying it, and like there are like 3 people who said the prior one, and like, oh, he says it first and we say it after, and then like you realize like there's a lot of this like who says what when, and like every shul has a guy who's like been there for years and like knows it, but like there's so much like false starts and like offsides going on, like it's so confusing, and
it is true that somehow every shul has one guy who knows like exactly what to do, and he knows, no, we say this now, we say actually no, our minhag is we say this one later, we're gonna skip
then you pass
this.
him and he has like notes in his siddur, and you're like
maybe. And it must be, because I don't understand how. It's a good thing that there's at least one guy who knows this. So we're not.
My favorite part of that whole thing is the na 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 guy. Sometimes you do the full thing, sometimes you don't, and then you cut off the chazan.
Yeah. Oh, I just went back there. Okay.
Yeah. No, but then sometimes you have to do the da dun da dun da da da.
Right, Joe. Not everybody does that. Like not everybody does.
I've been to 4 different schools where they've done
that. Okay. So I have my last 2. This one. Yeah, I guess I'll take it now. When you're doing Hashanahs on Sukkot, like the traffic patterns there, like the Hashanah's traffic patterns, where no one knows what in the world they're supposed to be doing. Like, okay, we're gonna move the tables. We move the tables like cross here, so everybody should make like a V-shaped pattern. Don't cross over the bima. You'll ruin everything. Instead, get stuck, and I don't know if you grew up in Flatbush, so you've davened in plenty of Flatbush shuls. There's no room in any of them. Like
I feel like there's no one directing. Everyone just like walks around, and like half the time you're just standing still. Like it doesn't matter. Like no one even tries there.
No, I don't know. I grew up like in a shul with a little bit more room, and then when I started davening at, let's say, my in-laws shul, like there's nowhere to go, and no one moves the entire time. We're already up to Musaf by the time anyone decides to take a step.
Right. I mean, I think we touched on this last week.
Then you have one guy who just goes around the bima himself, like.
But it's
off-roading
it's impossible to figure. Like, it's impossible to time to get back, and especially on Hoshana Rabbah, it's just like you don't know how many times you went around, and like.
By the way, I davened for the Amud this year on Hoshana Rabbah in a relatively big shul. It is so awkward when you're the only guy walking around.
It was
Oh, COVID.
You know,
COVID.
because of COVID, I can't walk around.
COVID.
So I'm walking around by myself. It was so awkward.
That's.
Does anybody have like that panic, like when a cop's behind you? You know it's not for you, right? But when the chazan is coming up behind you, and it's like, oh crap, I haven't moved yet. But like it's not for you, but like the sirens are flashing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my third pick. My last pick. Hold on, I just lost the notes. Is Para Aduma? No.
Shlomo, I thought you were going to go with the when do you smash the Hashanahs thing.
No.
Well, now we just spoke about Hashanah, so we're not going all sukkahs now.
Yeah.
No, I thought that's what he was going with.
Oh, with Hashanahs. I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to go with one. I don't even know how to phrase it per se. I have a million others, but that are probably better choices. But this one is very near and dear to my heart. So if you've ever eaten at like a Rebbe's house or a Rav's house, I don't know what to say. Like, what do you say to a Rebbe or a Rav that's like not a Shaila? You know, like you talk about like sports. Like, what do you say?
Like,
the most
there's like Shabbos who is always so awkward. Everyone's just like sitting there, and like there are the few guys who like grab the seats right next to them, and they're just like.
And
Rebbe, that's hummus. Does Rebbe like hummus?
There's a lot of different types of Rebbeim, though. Like, there are some Rebbeim where you eat by them. Like, once you're eating by a Shabbos meal, they're, like, just completely normal people. Like, they're not your Rebbe. They're just, like, chilled with their family. Then you have the other ones who are just like, so does anyone have a Dvar Torah?
Right. It's like, because it's like, you don't, let's say someone's a lawyer, right? You don't want to talk about, like, legal matters outside of work. Is like there's a job. So, like, your work is, like, learning. So, I don't want to bother you with like a Dvar Torah. Like, it's work. I want to keep work at work. You know,
right.
Like.
So Rebbe, did you read AY's article in the Jewish press?
No, but that's why you need every share has those guys who like are there for the Rebbe. Like, you know, you need that. You need these guys to just be like,
when that is very important. When you're going to a Shabbos meal by a Rebbe, you need that one guy who's going to be hawking up the Rebbe the whole time. You need that, or else it can get very awkward very quickly.
I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if it was like for Shir or something. Like, no one took like the front seat like next to him. I don't remember where that was, and he's like, "Hey, no one's gonna sit next to me." Like, nope.
No, but I've had it. I mean, anyway, I went to the same base measures.
Right,
but like,
right.
I whenever I would eat by, let's say, the Rosh Hashiva, I ate there twice, and I don't know what to say. Like, what do I do? Like,
well, with him in particular, he's not like he wouldn't start either. So it just, those are rough. Those are
like,
rough.
what are you supposed to say? Like, so does Rebbe think Dr. Seuss is racist?
It's interesting. No, what were you gonna say, AY?
I don't know. I was with this particular Rosh Hashiva. There's no starting point with him. I feel like it's.
But I've had it, but not just with him. Like, I've had it with others also, like Rebbeim and even like a Rav. It's like I legit do not know what to say. Even on the phone, also, it's like, so how are things?
So I did one of my picks. It's too similar to this to use at this point, but one of my picks was just like a little kid talking to a Rav. It's like whenever or after shul, if you go up to say good Shabbos to him, or just what do you the little kid, like the Rav, when the Rav is just saying like, oh, are you like whatever, just like making small talk, and you're just like, I don't know. Or like at a bar mitzvah, when you're getting bar mitzvah and shul, like the Rav like calls you up, like gives you a present, and like you're standing there and like you just don't know what to do. I don't know. It's just like being
you start looking around for a guy with a camera.
It's like interactions with Rebbeim that we just
interactions with Rebbeim are sometimes just like I just don't know what to do.
I had a Rav.
Does the Rebbe want to, like the whole fact that we have to use third person there is like it's.
So I had a great story with that. I had a Rav mess with me one time. I said he had missed the previous week. We were walking into shul together. I said, he was a great speaker and all that. So I said, we missed the Rav last week. He's like, who? I said, we missed the Rav last week. He's like, who? We missed the Rav last week. Who? We missed you last week. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was away. It was.
I remember like in yeshiva, like going through this like confused stage where I was like to my father by mistake, like, does Tati want it? What am I doing?
Before I got into high school, I didn't even know this was a thing because I wasn't in really the type of elementary school where this was a thing. And then I got into high school and just like, no, you can't call the Rebbe you. It's the Rebbe. Yeah. It's like it was very confusing.
Right.
But also I remembered another thing that this was maybe probably the most bad I've ever felt for a kid. I was at a bar mitzvah and his grandfather was giving a speech and he called him up, like to come up, like he called the bar mitzvah boy up and he like spoke to him with him standing right next to him for at least, and I'm not exaggerating, 45 minutes. I've never felt more bad for a person in my life than I felt for that.
And his hands are like on his shoulders and he's like
every once in a while just like talking to him and like touching him or like whatever. And the kid just has no idea
the little cheek caress, the Rebbe cheek caress.
Was it an actual like, and was it even a speech or was he like going through the family tree? Like, do you know where you come from? Where you stem from?
It was just going, it was like Divrei Torah just going on and on and on. It was like it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. So wait, Menachem, was that your pick or?
No, I was just saying I can't pick that because it was too close to what you did. Okay. But my pick is going to be the Sudas Hamafsekes on Tisha B'Av. So I feel like nobody ever knows what you're supposed to do there. Like, do we need ashes? Are we supposed to get ashes? Do we?
In particular on Shabbos, by the way.
Oh, I mean, no, on Shabbos you don't have like.
Oh, there is none.
When
I know, but it's real. Like, you're not allowed to prepare for Tisha B'Av, but you also have to.
There is no Sudas Hamafsekes when Tisha B'Av is Sunday.
I understand that, but I'm saying it's extremely confusing because you're not allowed to say you're preparing, but you have to prepare. And
right, you mean with that stuff, yeah. But I guess that is another aspect. But I was more referring just specifically to like also because you're not really supposed to eat with other people. So like,
all right, that's another thing. You have to go to the corner. You go to that corner. You go to.
Like, are we allowed to talk to each other? Like, can we look at each other? And like, we have to bench. We can't make a mizumin. And I'm just everything about. I feel like we do this every year, except when Tisha B'Av is on Sunday.
Also, like, how many ashes do I have to eat? To just like, sprinkle ashes, or that's to burn like a whole freaking paper towel? And like.
And every year I feel like we just do something else because we just forgot what we did last year or we just don't know, and it's just confusing every year.
That's like 99% of Judaism. Okay, what did we do last year?
Like, no, this is this year's Tanai.
Get the art scroll. What does the art scroll say to do?
And the worst is like when the art scroll has like, especially if you're checking in a sitter, like what you're supposed to do, like the tzibur, let's say, and it's in Hebrew, and there's like that one word that you're not sure if it means one thing or another, and it could go either way.
But how great is it when the art scroll has it in the back? Like when you find that halacha, and you're like,
this is exactly what. This is what
I was looking for this.
And I didn't even need to go to the shelf and reach over AY to get the sefer I was looking for.
I'm gonna go with the tune for Ein Kitzvah.
Confusing.
To me, confusing. It's awesome, but it's really confusing. You go from like Unesana Toikef, Mi Yichyo, Mi Yamos, dun 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 dun.
I mean, I have to disagree here. I happen to think that's like a highlight. It's like a break.
Oh, it's great. It's great. But what is it doing there?
I hear.
I don't get it.
I love how like the entire shul is doing harmony and no one's singing the actual song.
I don't know. It's interesting that this is what confused. I feel like this isn't something that I would really think that is confusing. It's just it's not that that I think it makes sense. It's just not something that is very confused. Like it's not something that I spend time thinking about. But I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not a musical person, so it's not like something that I don't know.
Anyway,
I distinctly remember the first time that I ever davened, in shul on Yom Naram and like jumped when the whole shul started. It took me completely by surprise.
Yep. All right, AY, finish this off.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to something that I had originally. because I just think it's majorly confusing, and I think it's shilohs that come up. I mean, the shilohs that I come up. I mean, at least I get shilohs all the time about it. I'm talking about like kashrus stuff. I'm talking about like that fork that you use once for power.
I had that also.
I have like a cabinet in my it's straight up tray. Like here, just we're having cereal in this. We're having I don't care. Just like it's so. And also, was it boiling water? Was it boiling? Because boiling, then like was the oven used for 24 hours?
Did you use it? Did you use it in the last 97 and a half hours? Because yeah.
Was it dirty? Was there any drops of meat in there?
You can use the sink for 24 hours now. Whoa. Why?
It's like for two reasons. Two reasons, like to unclog the drain and for kashrus.
Did you cut an onion with it? What about a leek?
Right. Was it an onion? Because onions can absorb. Oh, can they? Can onions get into the metal? Like
yeah, kids, go get it. Go get a cup of dirt from outside. I just put a fork in it.
And then like by our Pesach, like the blowtorch guy and the boiling water guy, massive gloves. Oh, this needs a blowtorch. What? Like
the guy who like floods his whole countertop with like 400-degree water. Like the whole counter just like crumbles after. Okay.
You have to get in the bowl. You boil a pot and there's like tongs and like you have to let it. Then again, but then it gets back to also like mikvah. Is it like the mikvah that everything has to touch the boiling water, or is it there's a sticker on it? I don't know. What am I like?
Whose idea was it, by the way, for all the kalim mikvahs to have a crate with holes for utensils? Like
if you have scuba gear, you could go down there and like get a whole set of silverware.
Oh, that's what eBay's made
for.
A
little like thing, get down there, like you can come up with like silver, gold.
And it's also one of those things that are so stressful because you're like, well, I think it was all in the water at the same time. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, do I try it again? Is this good enough? Like, I don't know.
And then you gotta let go. You gotta let go and grab it again.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't want it to get too deep down, but it has to be somewhat in there.
And it's always freezing. You pull your hand out of there. It's freezing.
By the way, there's like 6-7 months out of the year where I'm just like, I'm not total. If there's something that I need to total in like December, it's not being totaled.
I'm bringing it with me to the men's mikvah. That's it. I'm dumping my new set of china with me.
Yeah, you like walk to the steps of the mikvah with a towel around you, and it's just pots and pans.
You open up the shower robe and you have like plates.
I just have this picture in my head, like the diving sticks. You have just someone at the bottom of the mikvah swimming around, picking up all his old stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, that's it. Yeah, would it kill them to put a heater in the Kayla mikvah?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
Freezing.
That's a good one. Okay, I guess let's run through any honorable mentions. AY, you have any honorable mentions?
Can I say what we spoke about before or nah?
Would you say it on the Meaningful People podcast?
No, I would.
So then maybe you shouldn't.
Any honorable mentions?
It's like Yosef, that's like when you do something or say something like inappropriate or even somewhat inappropriate. It's like, would you say this in front of the king? So like, why are you saying it in shul?
Yeah.
Any mushal that has a king in it, I'm out. You lost me.
Yeah.
Like it's like when you're in front of a king. Actually, I don't know what that's like. So we're done.
We're the ones where it's like
I always loved it.
You got $1 million.
Flight to Miami. If you had to catch a flight to Miami in vacation, would you have woken up at 5:30 in the morning? Like,
yeah,
I would have.
But with that, it's like, well, maybe if I was doing this every single day, it's like if you got I told you wake up, you're gonna get $1 million you're gonna get $1 million for waking up on time. Would you show up on time? It's like, yeah, but if I was getting $1 million every single day, there would probably be some days where I'm just like, hey, you know what? I don't know.
I had a few million already saved up. I can afford it.
I can miss one day. It's fine. I won't buy that extra Porsche or whatever. It's like, I'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear the honorable mention.
Okay. So Well, I'll just give a few. So there's the like when you're supposed to lean or not lean by the Seder.
Right.
There's the davening Ashkenaz or Sfard for the Amud when you usually daven the other one. There's just the chuppah in general, just overall. I feel like, I mean, I haven't experienced it yet, but I feel like you probably get a lot of prep for it, but it's still confusing. I don't know. You could tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
I feel like also there's the shushing by the chuppah. Like, stop shushing me by the chuppah. Whatever's going on up there has nothing to do with me right now. It's the most boring.
Also, the announcements like the Chassan and Kala have specifically requested.
Yeah.
It's like, really? They did? Because I was just talking with him like at our friend's chuppah the other week, and
which Chassan is thinking about that, like leading up, like, can we just make sure nobody is talking by my chuppah? Like, when I was a Chassan, I'm like, I don't care. I didn't care. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about anybody. Like,
yeah. Underrated thing they don't teach you for a chuppah, the facial expressions for when you're walking down. Like,
yeah,
should I be smiling or serious?
There's no right answer.
I had to hold in a smirk, like like try not to smile.
It is funny seeing everyone's different facial expressions or just attitudes. Like some people are just really chilled out, some people are super serious, some people are crying, some people are laughing. Like, I don't know.
I had my eyes closed while davening, and someone took a picture of it and posted it on Simple Spot. And some guy comments like, "Leave the dude alone. He just wants to pray."
Okay, yeah. Let's run through this.
Yeah, so also, I had we mentioned this before, but Pigeon Ben, that's confusing.
Yeah.
There's also when you either wake up really early and you're not really sure what exactly, like, is it before sunrise? Am I allowed to say things? Am I not allowed to say? Or if you like pull an all-nighter, it's like, what am I like the next morning?
But even like pashtus, like teisakachavim, like. I don't know. Why can't we just all agree?
Just times in general, just zmanim.
How much of a bug out is it when you're staying by someone for Shabbos and they're like, "Oh, we do 72."
Right?
Are you kidding me?
This is the last time we are ever here for Shabbos.
Like they tell you what time Arab is, and you're doing math in your head. Like, no.
Candlelighting was at 4:11. They're davening at 6:32.
On the flip side of that, though. Like, you've just been doing this for 25 hours. Like, you can't just wait another 12 minutes. Like, it's gonna kill you.
To Miami.
Along that line, Shavuos morning.
Yeah, that goes along with all of this. It's just but at least with Shavuos morning, there's usually someone that's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
The same guy who knows what's going on by Yom Naram.
Right. Just normally, if you just do it, you don't know what to do. But whatever.
I love how we're just calling it some guy, and it's really just the gabbai.
No, it's some guy.
I know.
Not always, though. Not always. But
there's that guy who wanted to be the gabbai all along.
Right. He's usually the gabbai shlishi.
Role the gabbai shlishi. He's like back up. Might even be gabbai ravi. Like, but he really secretly always wanted it. And like he took these things, like he's gonna fix the chairs in the shul, like he's gonna line everything up, like after doubting, like it's a job nobody asked for.
He's the guy who he prints out the announcements and he puts them on the bima.
Right.
He has like a scope trained on the gabbai the entire laning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Any others?
My last honorable mention was just the shidduch system. Like, that's it.
Oh, you took that also. Yeah.
So
right.
I had a few. I had counting the days starting from the night.
Right,
just
okay.
in Judaism in
the
general.
Night starting before the day can get very confusing sometimes. Yeah.
Right, especially if like you washed before, or like Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos, and like it's like dark, but it's still Shabbos. It's Rosh Chodesh.
Like, why can't we just have the new day start like when everyone's sleeping, like normally?
I think Elon Gold has a funny bit on that, like comparing it to like the Jews, like it's not really so much the nighttime necessarily, but more like with the Zmanim is like, you never have in the non-Jew like, honey, when does Christmas start this year?
Right. This goes along with what I was saying also, just Zmanim in general. It's like
right. Zmanim.
Why?
Why can't we just have a uniform system where everyone agrees that, oh, it's nighttime now. Look.
No, but it's nighttime in 20 minutes.
It's freaking night.
Why does it even have to be like? Why does this have to be a thing? Why can't it just be at midnight and just this is when it is?
Because honestly, if it was like that, it would be. But what does midnight mean? Is it
like the Magen Avraham and Rabbeinu Tam and like they're all like sitting there with like calendars and like.
But I feel like midnight is pretty much the only thing that is agreed upon. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Chatzos is usually agreed upon. No, everyone knows when Chatzos is.
I feel like it is. I don't know. But the funny thing is that Chatzos really, for the most part, like does not come into play at all. Like for the most part, that's not really something that we ever even worry about. It's like
it's something you're really more worried about when you're younger for some reason. But as you got older, you realize Chatzos really doesn't matter.
I mean, John Mulaney, like figuring out when like the time when you can recognize someone for this is like the complicated, like that's the stuff that matters. But the Chatzos, which is simple, like that we just don't.
Oh well, that goes back to the Seder, Chatzos by the Seder. When like there's one guy who's like really worried about it, like hello, Chatzos is coming. What do we got to do then? Because Afikomen. Oh right.
It's like we can make a Tanai Rabbeinu Gershom or whatever.
Yeah, the Tanai, right.
To quote John Mulaney, that's like quicksand. Where growing up, you always think that quicksand is going to be much more of an issue than it ends up being. The other ones that I had were Tashlumin. Tashlumin is very confusing.
You're talking about like fast or tefillah?
No, like making up a shmanes, like a davening or shmanes.
I never do it because I just feel like there's never a time where I should be doing it. Like if I ever miss a davening, there was probably like a time that I had that I could have davened, and I just didn't. So there's almost never just like, oh, whoops, I just like there was never a time. It's like I don't know, I just never do it because I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that I just don't want to daven another shmanes, right? Which is
we already went through basically how you don't daven. Like every tefillah we mentioned, like oh, I don't say that.
No.
Basically, you don't daven. Oh, shmanes, I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to do it. I don't do mincha.
So normally I daven. I usually don't miss davening. But I'm not gonna like. I'm not saying kaveh. Like that's just not something that I'm gonna be saying. Like if I'm sorry if you have a problem with that, but for me that is just not something I'm gonna say. That's it.
The other ones I had bar mitzvah at 13, bas mitzvah at 12, the kaparas. What to do when you skip ritzeh or yalav yava in benching. It's a recent thing that they put the harachman that you're supposed to say in the bencher. That's a new thing. And on a similar vein, count what counts when you miss when you're counting serious Eimer. Like when are you not allowed to count? When you have to restart counting? I didn't really miss it. I did this. That's another confusing one to me.
How about when you have to leave on Hanukkah to like a party? And you're like you're not sure what to do. Should I light when I come back? Is it better now for a half hour, or if I just lit? Should I light there? If I'm going am I going to sleep over? Is it Shabbos? What am I going to do with Shabbos? Shabbos is coming. That whole figuring out when to light and when is it a half hour yet?
Should I just light and leave it here? It's probably not going to burn down.
Should I put it out? I don't want to put it out. I feel gross putting it out.
Yeah, I just can't.
I can't physically put out. Yeah. I feel like I'm murdering someone when I put out Hanukkah candles. Like straight up. Like this is I am killing someone. Someone is dying.
The level of like Schadenfreude, like that the host of the Hanukkah party, the one who scheduled it for like 6:30 when they knew everyone was going to have this dilemma, like the level of Schadenfreude that they must have, like the joy that they have that everybody is like worried, like okay, can we do the presents like now just because we didn't light yet and I want the kids to be up like when we do it and yeah.
By the way, this is really a whole nother discussion, but I love how there's just certain things that we just care about in Judaism that aren't even mitzvahs, that like are nothing. It's just like, I just don't want to do this, but like other stuff that is like clear cut, like the worst, like Lashon Hara is like nobody cares about that, but it's like, oh, but like, oh, I
had a Hanukkah candle.
I have to hear like Parsha Zachar, like I have to be careful, like not to miss a word, like go crazy and like that's a mitzvah, yeah, but like you're probably gonna be Yotzei even if you're not like your ear to the Gabai's mouth.
I just thought of something. I don't know why this like reminded me of that, but like things that like we're serious about, like how everyone freezes up by Kedusha. Like all of a sudden there's like this bottleneck by the door of everyone who just came in, and like everyone's like standing there frozen, like, oh, this we're serious about. This we're taking very seriously. But then like the instant Kedusha is over, like the movements that are going on. Like
But by the way, my favorite is the guy who he's gonna go to either his seat or like a place that's comfortable, even in the middle of Kedusha, even walking across half the shul. It's like
I started doing that now. I'm like, I'm not gonna stand here by the door.
By the way, that's another.
Like, if this is not such a like, I'm gonna if it's not like walking through the whole show, like I'll walk to somewhere normal. Like I'm not standing right.
I'm gonna find myself a comfortable spot to
exactly.
That's another good confusing one. When are you allowed to step out of Kedusha?
Right. Is it before not to cut it or the or whatever?
You have the guy who finishes Yimlech and he's just like, all right, that's it, I'm done. He starts walking away.
Okay, anyway, yeah, go.
I think I've been going.
Oh no! If you have any honorable mentions.
No, I think I came up with. I think we discussed.
Okay, yeah. So I'll go with mine. I'll run through them. Bayer, just focus Bayer.
Why don't you just go through all on the Tesla?
Right. I mean, hinting to a guy is a big one. What you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. You can't say. Also, no, this is a big one. With your kid, like, how old does he have to be? To, like my kid is literally playing with like muktzah toys. So what's the problem if I just tell him just shut this? Like, big deal.
Like, and then you like when it comes to muktzah, so before everything else, like your kids are like the greatest, most brilliant kids on earth. When it comes to muktzah, like, no, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Yeah, ask him to turn it off. Tefillin knots, just like the knots on the tefillin, blows my mind. I don't understand it.
Okay, now you're getting like very oddly specific about like things that were, I don't know. It's a dollar. It doesn't look like a dollar to you, like
making it like how, and I don't know.
Just like none of it, like you don't see the shin, the dollar, and the nut.
Right.
Like I don't know.
It's not like
it doesn't look like a shin to you.
It's like when you have like these street artists, like graffiti artists, where it's like, what, you don't see like peace and love? No, all I see is just like splotches. Like that's all I see. Okay, from LinkedIn, just Shatels, like, why?
You're just listing Jewish items now. It's not, I mean, yeah, okay, tzitzis, go for it. I don't know. Yarmulke.
Bloggers.
This one, I'm surprised it didn't come up. Why on Hanukkah do we light 8 candles and not 7?
That is so confusing.
And the last one that I have is, what do you say to someone in between Shalosh Seudos and Maariv, like on Motzei Shabbos, especially if you daven Maariv already, but he hasn't? Like he's like, either
you just go everywhere and then move on.
No, but it's like I'm not supposed to say Good Shabbos, I think, but he just said Good Shabbos, so like it'd be rude if I didn't. But I'm done already. So like if I say Good Vach, it's like, haha, you sucker, you keep 72.
Oh, and also, by the way, once we're going on, what do you say? Just what do you say in base Avel? That's just nobody knows what to say then.
Yeah,
nothing.
Nothing. You just go sit down. Everyone makes a big deal about it. Just sit down. I don't know what do you got to do? You feel awkward? He's an Avel. Like chill. You don't got to say anything. Trust me. Whatever you're gonna say is probably more awkward than feeling awkward sitting there quietly. Once you start, it's over. Like it's more awkward. You ruined it. So sit there quietly.
So what do you like? What's up? How are you?
Right.
I always just talk about something else random and like let the conversation happen. But like,
that's fine if you know the person. It's not that awkward because then you have something to. But if it's someone who you don't really know and you're just coming, like you literally have nothing to say to that person. There is nothing you have nothing to talk about.
There are things to talk about. Like I have gotten like I have some good ones in my back pocket that
Did anyone take my katan yet?
That's a whole other animal. Like the now I just steer into this kid. I am only taking something that is 3 prakim. Like I'm not taking anything anymore.
Do you leave your phone number?
No. Find someone else.
Someone going through that list, like, I need. Where's his phone number?
I'm not gonna be like one of the guys that's like, I'll take Kalim. You know, like
that's
no,
a huge like. It's another From flex. Big From flex is like
that would be
going
a
up
great
there and
Mizrach
taking Tamura. Like
yeah, that's another Mizrach Vant we should do. The Mizrach Vant.
That would be a
Jewish
phenomenal Mizrach Vant.
Yeah.
From flexes.
Yeah.
Oh, we said that. I think like from accomplishments.
Oh yeah,
We did discuss that.
I think it was just me and you that discussed it at some point, but
Right,
like
right.
we never really.
Yeah, because we were talking about whether or not you were going to be invited to Shlomo Siyam on Shas.
Yeah, and in 2.5 weeks, I'll be finishing Shas.
What?
This guy.
Yeah.
One guy here
Shlomo
doesn't dial
Siyam
in.
on Shas
This
is
guy
sponsored
learning
by
Shas.
Beyond.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I did not even realize what time was. Okay, we have to end this.
All right.
Okay. So
oh wait, you're Moshe Kolak.
Moshe 5-star.
Oh wow! Look at this. I see. I knew I wasn't gonna remember.
This is AY is now officially the fourth member of the podcast because we were not going to remember that.
So, this is a review by undisputed #1 fan of the podcast. So I don't think he liked that we were saying that there's some other guys that are vying for his title.
You know what? It helps keep the spark alive.
So he says, "My favorite podcast, and it should be your favorite also."
All right.
And the thing is, we know he means it sincerely.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you, Moshe. So thank you, AY, for coming on. You could check out AY at where can people see you?
You can see me right here.
You can see him on Twitter at AimHumor.
Humor.
You'll see him next week on.
Pay me for stuff. Let's go. Pay me for stuff. Shever brachas.
You'll see him next week on a Shechita podcast and whatnot.
Svarim history. I'm all in.
Yeah. Okay. All right, AY. Thank you very much.
No problem.